until the remedy is worse than the disease.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 characters who became villains after trying to create a cure.
Rest well, my love. The monster who took you from me will soon learn that revenge is a dish best served cold.
For this list, we'll be looking at fictional characters from various media who tried to create a cure of some kind only for it to go wildly wrong and turn them into the bad guy. Keep in mind, there will be some spoilers. Are there any instances we missed? Cure our oversight in the comments. Number 10. Harry Osborn, aka Green Goblin, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There have been a lot of Green Goblins over the years, most of whom accidentally drive themselves to insanity by taking an experimental serum. But seldom are they trying to save a life, even their own.
Our disease, the Osborn curse, and it began at your age.
Dane DeHaan's Harry Osborn, from the second Amazing Spider-Man movie, however, has the same genetic disease that killed his father Norman. Fearful for his young life, Harry comes to the conclusion that Spider-Man's blood can save him, but goes into a downward spiral when the webhead rejects the idea.
If our blood isn't compatible, you could die.
I'm already dying. Your blood can't make me die more.
But it could do something worse.
Desperate, Harry tracks down the venom that created Spider-Man, but the substance only accelerates the disease, mutating him and forcing him to don the Goblin suit to sustain himself. Number 9. Richard Lazarus, Doctor Who. Another character who fears their own mortality, the appropriately named Professor Lazarus tries to reverse the aging process on a genetic level. Like any negligent scientist, Lazarus tests the machine on himself, and at a public event no less.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Richard Lazarus. I am 76 years old, and I am reborn!
While somewhat successful, his machine also unlocks previously dormant genes, gradually mutating him into a scorpion-like creature that needs to feed on human energy.
You can't stand in the way of progress.
You call feeding on innocent people progress? You're delusional!
It is a necessary sacrifice.
That's not your decision to make.
Lazarus becomes a pretty wacky villain, but one that definitely fits in with the Whoniverse. Thankfully, the Doctor is able to kill Lazarus once and for all, but the Professor once again proved why you shouldn't play God. Number 8. Dr. Mindbender, G.I. Joe franchise.
Dr. Mindbender.
No, the Joes will be on guard against future attacks!
G.I. Joe villains have a tendency to be over the top, but few have such a dramatic shift in character as Dr. Mindbender. Indeed, Mindbender actually used to be a harmless orthodontist who only wanted to cure dental pain in his patients.
Well, we'll just hope for the best. If they get back, I'll have this new batch of synthetic protein for them.
He created a machine to manipulate brainwaves, but in the same way many of the characters on this list go wrong, he tested it on himself. This, of course, scrambled much of his reasoning, making him devious and hateful. Such attributes are welcome with the evil organization Cobra, which he later joined. The good old dentist probably should have just stuck with laughing gas.
Destro forgot to mention your frequent displays of cowardice.
Number 7. Silvio Manfredi, aka Silvermane, The Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 75.
My dear, I'm growing old and weak. Soon I'll lose everything unless I get that tablet.
Another elderly man who seeks to stave off his own demise, Silvermane is a mob boss who commissions Dr. Kurt Connors, someone we'll be returning to later, to create a potion that'll grant him immortality. Again, this goes a little too well, as Silvermane finds himself de-aging Benjamin Button style right out of existence.
I don't want to be like this! Make it stop, please! Somebody help me!
Incredible! He wanted his youth back. He got it.
Father!
Fortunately for him, Silvermane bounces back, allowing him to continue his life of crime as a middle-aged man. This doesn't last, however, as the potion's fading effects turn him into an invalid. As a last-ditch effort, Silvermane has constructed a cyborg body onto which he attaches his head. turning him into the full-blown supervillain that we know today.
So this is the Spider-Man that's given Tombstone and Octopus so much trouble. As yet, I'm unimpressed.
Well, you haven't seen me juggle bowling balls while drinking a glass of water.
Number 6. Ichirö Yashida, aka Silver Samurai, the Wolverine. While the comics version of Silver Samurai differs, the Ichirö Yashida version from the second Wolverine movie is, you guessed it, another old-timer afraid of kicking the bucket.
I was not ready to die then. I'm not ready to die now.
After being saved by Wolverine in the bombing of Nagasaki, Ichirö returns to Logan as a dying old man. He proposes to have Logan's healing abilities transferred to him, thus saving his life and relieving Logan of his immortal burden. But Logan refuses, kicking off a whole adventure for the time-worn mutant.
Logan-san, don't look so shocked. With you at my side, I survived Nagasaki. Surely I could survive this?
After faking his death, Ichirö is revealed to have been operating the Silver Samurai armor and proceeds to take Wolverine's healing factor by force. It works, but Ichiro's newfound youth is short-lived, as Wolverine ensures that he meets the very thing he fought so desperately to avoid.
You asked me to come say goodbye. Sayonara.
Number 5. Michael Morbius, aka Morbius the Living Vampire, The Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 102. Sheesh, these Spider-Man villains should really stop trying to bend the laws of nature. To be fair, Morbius eventually finds himself operating as more of an anti-hero, but he definitely didn't start out that way. A brilliant biologist with a debilitating blood disease, Michael Morbius turns to the DNA of vampire bats and electroshock therapy to cure himself. Unfortunately, the former introduces a slew of side effects, transforming Morbius into a vampire-like creature.
My face! Skin translucent! Mesostructure distorted. I have got to reverse this. There is something else. I feel a hunger.
Though this grants him superhuman abilities, it also creates a need to feed on human blood to survive. This puts him into conflict with heroes like Spider-Man, as Morbius again seeks a cure, this time for the monster he's become.
Are you here to heal the world? Or to destroy it?
Number 4. Victor Freeze, aka Mr. Freeze, Batman the Animated Series.
Freeze! That's Mr. Freeze to you.
Originally starting life as a criminal named Mr. Zero, the general mythology for Mr. Freeze changed forever with the advent of his appearance in Batman the Animated Series. A scientist named Victor Freeze, his origin became much more tragic as he tries to save his terminally ill wife, Nora.
Behind me you see the CC-100. A cryogenic freezing chamber of my own design. I created it for the express purpose of freezing subjects stricken with inoperable ailments. Subjects like my own beloved wife, Nora.
After cryogenically freezing her until a cure can be found, Freeze is exposed to chemicals that make him incapable of surviving outside of sub-zero temperatures. From there, Freeze constructs a suit that can sustain him and dons the supervillain persona, Mr. Freeze.
Sooner or later, all who stand in my way must feel the icy touch of death.
Versions of the character almost always see him utilize a freeze gun and other gadgets that allow him to further fund his research.
The Iceman cometh!
Number 3. Kirk Langstrom, aka Man-Bat, Detective Comics, Volume 1, Issue 400. If this list is anything to go off, scientists really shouldn't be experimenting with bats. Kirk Langstrom starts off as a zoologist who seeks to imbue humans with the bat's sonar abilities, partially motivated by his growing deafness. He too tests the formula on himself, but he ends up with more bat characteristics than he bargained for. Turning into a human-bat hybrid has some serious ramifications on Langstrom's sanity, as the appropriately named Man-Bat continually finds himself in the crosshairs of Batman before the latter can temporarily reverse the transformation. Over time, however, Langstrom has learned to control his faculties as Man-Bat, allowing him to play the part of anti-hero in addition to his villainous ways.
Will he change again?
No. The formula's out of his system. It's over. For now.
Number 2. Curt Connors, aka The Lizard. The Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 6. Yeah, in hindsight, Silvermane really shouldn't have trusted a guy who already failed to cure himself. By all respects, Curt Connors is a brilliant geneticist and a good man, often aiding Peter Parker's Spider-Man when not in his villainous lizard form. This originally comes about when Connors tries to regrow his lost arm by experimenting with reptilian DNA. It initially works, but the serum doesn't stop there, transforming him into a massive humanoid lizard creature.
You stopped me once. You won't stop me again. I'm getting stronger every day!
Though Connors tries to suppress it, every time he turns into the lizard, he becomes wildly unstable, often trying to turn humankind into a race of creatures like himself. Well, misery does love company, after all.
All these souls, lost and alone, I can save them. I can cure them. There's no need to stop me, Peter.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The foundation upon which many of these characters are based, Robert Louis Stevenson's Dr. Henry Jekyll is already grappling with the maniacal alter ego inside of him when his story begins. Jekyll develops a serum to banish Mr. Hyde for good, but this instead gives the latter free rein in the former's body, and in some interpretations even transforming it.
Free! Free at last!
Jekyll typically awakens sometime later, having no memory of what dastardly deeds he committed as Mr. Hyde. Originating in 1886, Dr. Jekyll is the quintessential character whose foolhardy attempts to fix himself only turn him into an even greater threat.
You who have sneered at the miracles of science. You who have denied the power of man to look into his own soul. You who have derided your superiors. Look. Look.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.